Welcome to Focused Fire Chat. Explore together.
Welcome back for episode 84 of Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on May 5th, 2017 on twitch.tv. Big shout out to the live chat here. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us. This is your host, Blue Crew 86. Alongside me, we have the man who's getting hyped for his upcoming journey to the City of Angels, Justin Sane 0516. Justin, how's your week been?
It's been awesome. Just been prepping for my trip to the West Coast. I got my shades, been getting a tan, but not a farmer's tan because that's too provincial for them. They're very sophisticated out there. And then, I don't know. So I've just been trying to immerse myself in the culture, if you will. Lots of culture.
I'm very proud that you misplaced the audio file that you had.
Listen, we'll talk later in the after show about Ma's wee baby. Okay.
No, your intro clip.
The intro.
Oh, yeah. No, I wasn't going to do that 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, okay. Well, Mel is working while we're here playing around, and if you were here at the beginning of the show, you know that we are kind of just playing around tonight. So be sure to let her know that we miss her over on Twitter at The Wind of the Stars. And then from the depths of the madness-inducing mind maps, we are joined by our favorite Gunter, the one and only green-eyed music lover. Green, hope you're doing well. How's the week gone for you?
Good. While Justin's getting ready for the West Coast, I've been working on getting ready for the East Coast. We're planning a couple extra days before Guardian Con, so we have to go and pay for our tickets to the Island of Adventures. We're going to go to Hogwarts because nerdy. I'm a Potter fan, but Julie is like, whoa, Harry Potter fan. That's her nerddom.
Well, it's not as good as Pig Farts.
Pig Farts? What?
Rumble Roar? What?
I actually deduct 2 points from Honda Door.
See,
I'm surprised I'm surprised you're not trying to steal bits from the houses again.
I'm sorry. Dobby looks just like the Noid. Anyone?
Are we still on this argument?
He's gonna be on that for the rest of the year. Every time I bring up Hogwarts. Every time.
Oh man. Well, let's run through the intro real quick, and then we'll jump into the discussion. The topic of today's chat is going to be a dive into the lore of the Sunbreaker Titans. I asked Green to put together a high-level summary of the topic, and this is what she had to say.
Run away! Are they gone? Oh, okay. Whew. Through continued tempering, the Sunbreakers are forged through fire at the Burning Shrine. Considered a mercenary clan, the Sunbreakers' light had never been seen within the walls of the city. Or so we are led to believe. Yet, within the Grimoire, we learn that their marks were once displayed proudly throughout the city. With the guidance of Uros, a legendary Sunbreaker, our guardian brings light to where only darkness survives. In the shadows of the light that gave birth to the ancients, fire born of man, fire of the light. A Sunbreaker doesn't answer to anyone, but the will of the light. Maybe this is why the record was wiped clean.
Before we get into that, however, I do have a few housekeeping notes. In our last chat, we looked at the updated lore of the Awoken and the Fallen. If you missed that and have any interest in hearing our thoughts, please be sure to check out www.focusfirechat.com for archives of all previous chats, as well as links to the other aspects of Focus Fire Chat out in the internets. If you don't mind, please give us some feedback on iTunes to let us know how we're doing and to help us continue to grow. As many of you already know, Focus Fire Chat is a cross-community gathering where the intent is to offer a week-long in-depth view of a particular subject from within the lore of Destiny and other games. This chat begins every Tuesday morning and runs until the following Tuesday, with topics decided by the group via a poll that begins every Friday and ends on the Tuesday morning of the new chat. Every Friday at around 10 p.m. Central, we get together to stream a recap of the previous week's chat for those who are unable to participate. Please be sure to also give some support to the other podcasts in the Guardian Radio Network, found at theguardiansofdestiny.com. These include Guardian Radio, the official podcast for the Guardians of Destiny, Guardian 1, Ghost and Echoes, which also has the Destiny audio Grimoire, and the network's newest edition, a non-Destiny-focused podcast, Paragon Radio. Next week, we actually are taking one of the rare breaks for the podcasting team. So the conversation in Discord this week is actually just a general conversation. Please be sure to jump in and weigh in on your thoughts, maybe on what's coming up for us. With that, let's go ahead and dive into the information and thoughts that the community had about the Sunbreakers. Lorebot, let's go.
Query Grimoire database. Results found. Displaying on screen.
Thank you, Randy. So, the first card we're going to start with is the just base Titan card. And the quote is, "Strive for honor, stand for hope." Titans are warriors, heroic defenders of the light, channeling the gifts of the traveler to wage war on the darkness, steadfast and sure. Titans face any challenge head on, blunt force instruments of the traveler's will.
Pretty straightforward.
Just like a Titan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of, yeah. I'm with you there. No, I mean, so the Titans are the battering ram or the, they're the blunt force instrument. So they're very stout and actually their mindsets tend to be very one track, so to speak, with the exception of a few notable Titans.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely built as the steadfast defenders, even though they're not necessarily just a defense-based class. They do have some offensive aspects, especially this class. Hence the fact that I ran away screaming in the summary breakdown.
That's what you do when you hear a tink tink.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why I really wanted Fraggle's tink tink instead of that tink tink. But, do it with what you can.
Oh man.
So we want to go into just the Sunbreaker card?
Yeah, let's jump into it a little bit.
So, forging on. So, I'm going to talk about Sunbreakers. The Sunbreaker card, quote, is "Forge the fury of undying suns. Some Titan orders predate the city, born of a darker time, when light was an untamed weapon. The Sunbreakers brought honor to the wild, never seeking the safety of the city. Bound by an oath, they live as mercenaries seeking battles and alliances beyond the walls. Now the light of their fire has at last found rank among the city. Wield the hammer of soul with honor, Titan. It is a thing of legend, both past and future." So this card kind of makes me a little upset, not because of what it says, but because it's slightly misleading from what we find out in some of the other things, but I don't know if you want to go into that yet.
No, we can.
So we find out in some of the items that the Sunbreaker Titans have actually been in the city before, but they were wiped out, or at least the knowledge of them was wiped out. They were not wiped out. They left. And for a lot of the cards that we have, it makes it seem like they had never been there, but they had.
Well,
like so many others that we know.
To be fair, though, it says that their banners flew from the city. Right. It doesn't. I mean, like, it could be the city. It could be the civilians being like, "Hey, yay, Sunbreaker!" And the Sunbreakers are not actually in the city, right?
They're not actually allowed in the city.
Well, not that they weren't allowed, but I mean, like, if you think about it, they didn't care. Well, they cared, but they didn't. That wasn't like what they did. They could have. I mean, if they even interacted with the city, which obviously they did, but like if they might have been kind of the. I don't want to say they were the Pilgrim Guard, but they were kind of like the Pilgrim Guard. If they were bringing people to the wall, then they could also be kind of one of those things where it's like they got them to the gate and they put them through the gate and they were done, right? Right, and yeah, Pins has got an excellent point too. There are two different meanings of Sunbreaker too. There's the order of Sunbreaker, and then there's the subclass Sunbreaker. So that's kind of also the other confusing thing that's going on there as well.
Okay, but I just pulled up like the Sunbreaker's mark, and it says that once these marks stream proudly from the city's rooftops, now they are a symbol of defiance.
Right.
And I know there's another one, but I haven't found it yet.
Mark of the Sunforge, I think, is what you're talking. Well,
do you know
what are you talking about?
Sunforge or March of Fire.
Yeah. Sorry. What was that, Justin?
I was just going to say the part of this card that intrigues me the most upon reading it for the I don't know how many at the time is that they're seeking battles and alliances beyond the walls. So it really leads me to ask, what alliances have the Sunbreakers sought beyond the walls? I mean, an obvious one is.
Yeah, you can say it.
Blue, you want to say it?
Yeah, no, you can say it. You can say it. You can say it. I totally want
Osiris.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
so
not
an obvious
getting
one
in
is
trouble.
Osiris. but it actually is a plural on that, alliances.
Right.
So that leads me to think that the Sunbreakers aren't as reclusive as we like to paint them.
Oh,
it's kind of
like maybe, I don't know, what are the other factions that are outside the city currently? Dragons. And Awoken. The Nine. I mean, the reason why I kind of make light of that whole thing is that we know that Ahamkara were originally okay with the city. Like, the city was originally okay with the Ahamkara, and then something happened, and, you know, maybe they defaulted on their debt or something. I don't know. And the rolling debt was denied. And so in order to not have to pay, I'm assuming, they went and just killed him. Or tried to.
I think it was someone important was sleeping, and an Ahamkara said, "Burn it all." And then they woke up and said, "No, I'm done. I'm out.
Oh my.
We're killing all of them."
My.
Why? Don't worry about it. Just grab your spears.
And your floating orbs.
Grab your spears and get Lord Gellion. We're going on a dragon hunt.
Quietus.
Yes.
Oh no. Yeah, I mean, so like, yeah, the idea of them seeking alliance, and the other thing is like they were always kind of presented, and I mean, Green, you said a March of Fire. It specifically calls out that they're a mercenary clan of Titans. So here is the distinction. Here's the distinction that I was making is the Sunbreakers that are on Venus is a clan. Okay. Which kind of gives you an idea of maybe an order, not like a hard order, like the Chain or, you know, Pilgrim Guard or Stone, but the the fact that it's called a mercenary clan, to me, and this might just be me. I mean, this is completely my opinion here, but I then read that as a distinction between the Sunbreakers of, let's just call it the Sunbreakers of Venus, and the subclass Sunbreaker.
Okay, but here's where I really want to know how to tell the difference between the clan version versus the subclass, because in the Talk to Zavala card, or one of them, there's a quote by the Ghost said, "He's been combing the tower record since we left Venus. The Sunbreakers have been effectively removed from the history of the city. Strange to see such an important group just gone."
Right.
So it's like, okay, is that the clan that they literally wiped out of the city because they have too close of ties with said Osiris? But I mean, it's difficult to say.
So real quick on that, actually, I would say that it was actually the political grouping, because going back to A March of Fire, the quote from Zavala says that this is the first I've heard of the Sunbreakers in years. They were an ancient order of titans. And then he goes on to kind of describe them a little bit. And but he actually calls the Sunbreakers an order of titans. Now, right. And this is where like it's really hard to not get into this giant debate of semantics, because if you look at the quote, order is not capitalized.
Right.
And I mean, Green, you probably know where I'm going with this. Like, so there's a lot of different meanings of the word order, especially in regards to a military organization. And generally, if it's something of like, Stoneborn or the Chain or Pilgrim Guard, it usually comes across as capitalized, if I remember right. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and I think most of the time when they refer to Titan orders, they are referring to them as a capitalized. This is not capitalized. So this is potentially a debate kind of similar to a light and light. If it's capitalized, it means light, the paracausal power. If it's lowercase, I know. But you know what I mean? It's like, it's hard when you're talking about this particular distinction to not get into it, because the reason why it's hard to do that is because it is very, very important. There's some ramifications there, right? If there's two groupings, then you could technically say, oh, Sunbreakers were never in the city, but the subclass was. But if there aren't two distinctions, then you say Sunbreakers were never in the city. Well, then, Green, that goes back to your problem of why are you flying their banners then? Right? Mm-hmm. So, and then, again, just my 2 cents there, but that's how I kind of have come to make peace with it in my head, is that I kind of read this as an order and then the pure subclass itself. Because I also have, you guys know this, I have a kind of a more psychological, philosophical bend to what a subclass is. I don't really perceive subclasses as something that was like, no, you have to be part of this clique to be that. It's more of, this is how I manifest the power that has been granted to me. And you can't control that, right?
So I think it's important when you're talking order versus subclass. Order is a what's the word I'm looking for? Not sociological, but it's a group. It's a group of people. It can be political. In the case of the Sunbreakers, it tends to lean that way, but it's a very conscious gathering of people under the tenets of a shared ideology and a shared set of practices. In the case of the Sunbreakers, they all tend to be mavericks, and they weren't ready to all assimilate under one banner of the city. A subclass is more of a discipline. And I'm with you, Blue. I don't view the subclasses as evolutionary tracks in the Guardians, It's not like, oh, well, you're a warlock because you have this gene, and then you're going to split to one of these subclasses, and then you go on like that. It's very much a discipline of study. And the Sunbreaker Order, I think, are the first group that proliferated the Sunbreaker subclass, and that's where the Order is the group of people who first came up with the specific sets of disciplines that then birthed the subclass as we know it today, and that's why you get spammed with hammers. So I don't like them.
Tell us how you really feel.
Is that fair? Is that pretty?
No. I think
pretty rational?
that also kind of introduces the concept of the entire structure of the Vanguard too, right? Because that's what the point of the Vanguard is as mentors to do exactly kind of what you were saying there.
Right. It's just interesting to me that we've had Night Stalker and Stormcaller, and there's not necessarily an order like the Praxic Order or a grouping of hunters. I mean, we don't necessally have something that's named that way. Now, granted,
but we potentially do actually. The Shadowsmiths. There's a mention of the Shadowsmiths. And we don't really know what they are. There's only one mention in the entire thing, but Cade actually mentions them in a consensus meeting, and he says the Shadowsmiths are taking care of it. And so there's a potential that there's something going on there. But I mean,
but what I'm saying is we don't have a subclass named Night Stalker, or we have a subclass named Night Stalker, but we don't have a faction or order named Night Stalker.
I got you. Yeah, I see.
I mean,
that's a fair point.
It doesn't necessarily disprove it in any way, shape, or form, but it's just against the grain of what they've done so far.
Right. Well, but I mean, I guess to kind of be a tongue-in-cheek counter argument is it's also Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Titan.
Fair warning. I guess we probably should have started the podcast off with fair warning. None of us play Titans.
No.
Okay.
Really?
My main is a hunter.
That's right.
And most of my hours are on my main, but all the other hours are on my Titan. So the only other class that I've played significantly has been my Titan. So I'm fairly in the Crota days when it started towards the end of Crota. I started to kind of get bored with running sword with my hunter. So I started using my Titan a lot, and it was really fun. I give them a lot of grief, and I talk a lot of hunter trash, but I really do enjoy playing a Titan. So I just am not as knowledgeable about most of the armor pieces and other things because I just don't have the hours in to have gotten them all.
I play Hunter, so
I would agree. Titan's my second. If you watched stream last night, I started a Warlock because I played maybe 2 hours total of a Warlock.
Justin has a Warlock.
I started a Warlock on stream. Stream got to name her, choose her face, her face paint, her hair, and everything. Her name is Princess Sparkleface, and she still got 97 light. That was a year ago.
That's impressive.
All right.
97 light.
It's actually Mystic Rose has a really good point in the chat as thinking of hunters as more individual.
Yeah. That's
why we haven't seen any grand orders or assemblages of hunters, because it's just a personality thing. Like it's
right.
It's just the way. Yeah.
We also don't have any warlock classes, subclasses that are named as orders either, though. I mean, warlocks are more group oriented. They're the wizards that group up together and discuss things because that's what they do. But it's just, hunters are more individual. I get that. We do have evidence of, like Blue was saying, that there's groups of hunters named, what do you say, call them shadow something?
I think it's
Shadowsmiths.
Shadowsmiths.
Shadowsmiths. So, I don't know. It's just an argument, not necessarily a good one, but it is an argument.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing. Well, let me round out the Grimoire card reading real quick, and then I want to talk. I mean, Green, you had an excellent point in the chat. We should probably talk about Bound by Fire because it's well. So as part of the Taken King introduction of the new subclasses, they did these really cool things where, you know, they introduced actual story missions that actually explain not just, you know, what you're doing, but actually how you unlock this new power. And the one that is for the Sunbreakers is really cool. It's actually a story mission called Bound by Fire, and we'll get to that in just a second. But real quick, let me finish off the couple Grimoire cards that we have. They're really short. And basically, it's the Solar card, which then kind of ties into the Hammer of Soul card. So Solar, we've read this one before, but real quick, Solar is sometimes the only answer is to burn it all away. The universe is defined by fundamental forces. Energy is carried by quanta, tiny messengers of change. In the understanding of these messengers lie the secret of solar light. And then we jump into the Hammer of Soul, which is, you know, the Tink Tink's big super. And it says, forge your light into a raging inferno of solar energy and pull forth a blazing hammer from the fire. Cloaked in flames, launch your hammer at enemies from afar, releasing a devastating eruption of solar fire on impact. You burn with the intensity of stars, and no shadow is safe from your light. I hear Justin. Justin has something, I'm assuming. He's getting very animated in the background.
So, this all kind of circles back to kind of my view of the light as a kind of a, I don't want to use the term God particle, but as kind of a base form of energy in this paracausal destiny world we live in. So I love the statement that energy is carried in quanta, tiny messengers of change. So it's actually pretty commonplace right now for one form of energy moving from one state to another to produce a completely different form of energy. So in the case of, and I just want to use this as a base example. I don't want to get into the weeds of explaining how this works because I'm not that smart. But in the case of an LED, so a light emitting diode, we kind of discovered at some point that there's this material that we can produce that when electrons pass through it, it gives off energy in the form of photons. That's the lights that is the light that is emitted from the diode. That's how I view solar light. So I know I've said a couple of times that I kind of view solar as the base or the kind of the purest form of light, and I kind of stand by that. But it's not so far-fetched to believe that light moves in these particles, and the kind of conduit it travels through determines the type of output you get. So in the for the real world example, the example of the LED, if electrical current passes through an LED, energy is outputted in the form of photons or visible light. You think of a sunbreaker, if light is transmitted in a circuit from traveler, ghost, guardian, and back, and in a constant loop, an output is produced in the form of solar light. And I think it's all in how you hone yourself as a conductor of the light. That's a really long tangent.
Is okay.
Sorry.
We have a new
No
name
worries.
for Tink Tinks in the chat.
What is it?
Is what?
The Snake Breakers.
Oh my.
Oh man, get me 3 Titans right now.
Good job, Scott. Scott Z. Scott.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. Scott.
So, real quick, we were talking about jumping into Bound by Fire, and the thing that I think kind of would be really good to lead into that is the last Grimoire card that I have is the Sunbreakers Challenge, and this Grimoire card is actually just a quote from Shax, but it's actually one of my. I really like this quote. I don't know if I would say it's up in the top 5, but it's definitely up close. And it says, "What the Forge does to your light must be respected and feared. That path is not for everyone. The Sunbreakers take the oath very seriously. I'm not trying to talk you out of anything. I'm just making sure you know the stakes. That Forge breaks the brittle, and it bends the weak. But the strong walk away steeled and tempered, unbreakable."
I do like that quote.
Oh,
It's so good. It's so good.
Well, and it also really hits home for coming from Shax, because Shax is also the master of the Crucible. Well, what is a Crucible? In real life, a Crucible, you kind of use those in a forge. That's
Right.
Those are kind of interconnected. So who better to talk about a forge than a person who is the master of a crucible? I think I like that little connection in the trivia there as well. But so Bound by Fire, and Green, were you able to get to the transcript? Okay. So I guess we'll just introduce real quick. Bound by Fire is a story mission that basically unlocks the Sunbreaker subclass for Titans. So you can
It's the best of the extras. It's the best of the extra missions. I say it's better than as a hunter. I say it's better than the Night Stalker mission, and it's way better. It's like the Stormcallers is pretty close.
I really like the Night Stalker one. I nearly said Nightcrawler because I really like Nightcrawler, but the Night Stalker one I really like.
Nightcrawler's my favorite X-Man.
I knew that would summon him back. So anyways, Bound by Fire is the story mission that basically, so this is the bane of all the people out there. This is like the number one complaint whenever we talk about subclass missions. You can only play this once. Like the same Guardian. Like you would have to create a different Guardian to play this mission again. So if you have the ability,
who needs 2 Titans?
Right. If you have the ability, record it, because you're not going to get to play it again. Unless you created a completely new character. So,
Right.
and it's completely solo. Fire teams are disabled. You can't, this is only playable by a single person and only once. And then I guess my question for Green is, do you want to how do you want to read this transcript? Do you want to just go through it, or do you want to actually read it verbatim?
I would like to read it verbatim just because it's some really good writing, and we get probably more lore from this one mission about the Sunbreakers than we do from anything else we have.
I would agree with that, definitely. Okay, so you want to just trade off characters?
I call Uros because she's the girl. Unless Justin wants to read her.
No, I think the girl should probably read the girl. At the risk of sounding provincial.
I love how you're just like without blinking. Unless Justin wants it, then that's completely.
No, I'm bandit number 1.
Oh, that episode was so much fun.
All right, so you guys got Justin, were you able to get into the script as well?
Yeah.
Loading screen.
Okay. Mercury was transformed by the Vex in the early days of the collapse. As far as we know, the warlock Osiris is the only guardian to spend any time among the spires. We haven't heard from him in years.
Osiris brokered a contract between the Sunbreakers and the city. Its terms were unacceptable to me. Now the Sunbreakers hate the Vanguard. They hate me. The Titan arrives in the burning shrine. Most of the area is in flames, and the sun behind them shines bright. The voice heard on the radio speaks to the Titan.
We do not know of you, Guardian, but if you found us, you are worthy of our time. I am Uros, third embryo magistrate of the Sunbreakers. You have come to test your light in the forge here. You must prove you are one with the light. Use your ghost to ignite the forge.
Yes, ma'am. Guardian, Urus is a legend. If even half the stories are true, she's one of the most powerful Titans alive today.
The Titan heads to the far back room where several Vex are inactive. They stand and attack, but the Titan defeats them. The ghost scans the shrine at the back of the room.
Power's on, but the array needs to be aligned. Let's head outside.
A bright beam of light forms above the Titan, pointing outside where they came in. The Titan walks back out and finds another shrine and sends the ghost to scan it. The light adjusts and links to the platform where the Titan first landed. The platform becomes shrouded in flames. A large glowing orange orb floats in the middle above the burning forge.
In the shadows of light that gave birth to the ancients, use the forge.
The Titan approaches the forge.
Fire born of man, fire of the light. Ask yourself, what power do you seek from the forge, Guardian?
The Titan reaches forward cautiously, putting their hand inside the orb. Flames start to surround their arm as they grasp a golden handle and slowly pull back.
Can you bring light to where only darkness survives?
The Titan continues pulling until the hammer of soul emerges from the flames. Unaware of the weight at first, the hammer drops the Titan's arm. They lift it to their face, inspecting it. The Titan starts to swing it back and forth to get a feel for their new ability until they raise it above their head, pumping their arm. The screen briefly flashes white. Their entire body is enveloped in flames as they powerfully swing their hammer behind them. The Titan turns around, ready to do battle with their newfound ability.
Prepare yourself.
Several Vex clouds form around the Titan, dropping off large numbers of Vex infantry.
So we're going to get attacked then. Here we go.
Blessed with boundless light, their hammer almost instantly regenerating, the Titan uses their new powers to destroy hordes of Vex. They are all soon destroyed.
A Sunbreaker does not answer to any but the will of the light. Welcome, Guardian. Wield no power but the fury of fire.
Mission ends.
So good.
Yeah,
so good.
I really like that ending point too, and I think that kind of points to the ultimate conflict between the Sunbreakers and the city and the Speaker, because a Sunbreaker does not answer to any but the will of the light. I can see a few people having an issue with that, like, you know.
Sorry, I really needed an on-air sign.
That's okay. My dogs decided that they were going to go attack the darkness.
Well, it's not their fault. They can't read. I love that little subclass mission. I've only played it once, but it's really fun.
It's just that character, Uros, is such an, like, you only get her for a split second in comparison to the rest of the game, but she's very much so like Ikora in some ways to me. That legendary, almost warlock feel. She's just a legend in and of herself. And speaks of ancients, and is that the only reference we have to ancients, quote unquote?
Yes, I believe so.
So
Earth to the ancients.
I think actually Uros means gold in Portuguese, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Also, there's the connection to the never-ending snack Ouroboros, which is how I feel whenever anyone activates a Sun Singer in Crucible.
Sunbreaker.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Blue, I see
Whatever
the
you call
thing
it.
with the theory.
Sun Snaker.
What's that?
The Sun Snaker. The theory that caused the emotion to enter the mission, is that the thing that Zavala used to have a thing with the Sunbreaker?
Yeah,
kind of
there's a theory. So like, it's really, really difficult. You cannot hear this in the text of this mission, but this is actually one of the missions in which you actually hear a ton of emotion in Zavala's voice. Like, he's actually pained when he talks about this.
Yeah, let's rephrase. A ton of emotion for Zavala.
Right. Well, okay,
not for a normal person.
Right. I mean, for him though, it's like it almost feels like he's about to break down a little bit.
There is some remorse. Because, and do you know what I think that stems from? I don't think he's ever legitimately thought he was wrong until that point.
Well,
I think that's
one of the theories.
Because that's the first time he actually thought he took the wrong course of action.
Right. Well, and that's also possible too, is that he wronged the Sunbreakers, or he wronged the city. He, as a person who holds quite a bit on, the honor and doing the right thing, I could see that impacting him too. But another theory is that Zavala was involved potentially with a Sunbreaker. There's no weight to any of this. This is just kind of theories that people have kind of thrown around. But it would be interesting, to hear that, there was actually a connection between a Sunbreaker and Zavala, and then the whole thing fell apart, and she or he chose to leave with the rest of the Sunbreakers. Right?
So, you've got the script for the game audio when we get our subclass, but the mission before that is the one that intrigues me. When you have to go back to, I think it's the beginning of the Nexus strike, and you actually have to go to these little nodes, and there's these radio transmissions from Sunbreakers that keep coming across, and the part that always stuck with me is I think it's actually Uros talking, and they're talking about opening a door, and then all of a sudden it seems everything went to pot. And she says, "Oh, typical Osiris."
Yeah. I have that marked as one of the things that we talked about in chat. Because the question is, are they still there? Like, because when we go
what we are hearing an echo of a past event or a transmission of a current event? I don't know at that point, but I find in Osiris's, his involvement with the Sunbreakers very intriguing. I'd really like to see more on that.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now, actually.
It's not in notes, is it?
No, I didn't grab that one.
That's cool.
I think it was.
Everyone's human.
Yeah,
even
thanks.
you.
Thanks for that.
You're a bloomin'.
A bloomin' human. Okay.
Oh.
I don't remember that mission. I am trying so very hard to find it. The one that you're talking about before you do the Bound by Fire.
I know Bound by Fire follows the Coming War.
It's one of them that follows it.
Right.
Isn't that...
So,
are you talking?
I just wanted to. Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say, are you? It's not. Oh yeah, head to Venus and search for the Sunbreakers.
Yeah, it's in that quest chain.
A March of Fire is the mission that you're talking about. Let me see what I can find real quick.
Well, Pins at chat nailed it on the head. He said Osiris was the one that was brokering the deal between the Vanguard and Sunbreakers.
Yep.
Right.
But I found that dialogue in that mission there to be very telling in the fact that not only was it that they had dealings with Osiris, which we already knew, but it was like typical Osiris. So not only have they dealings with Osiris, they've had enough dealings so that they're tired of his BS.
No, yeah. So it's a March of Fire. It's near the end. It's after you eliminate Vex presence. You find a small beacon near the stairs. You send a ghost to scan it. And a radio transmission can be heard, and the voice, it's a voice. We don't know who it is. It says, fall back. Should have known Osiris. Protect the forge once they're in. You remember, and then it cuts out. And then Zavala basically says that they were headed to a Vex gate. You run up the stairs and, fight through Vex, fight through heavier Vex. And then you ultimately have to take out a Hydra and a few Minotaurs. When you get to Dig Site 4, which is on Venus, you actually run into a gate. And so your ghost scans it to map the conflux to figure out where it leads, which then points to the Sunbreakers open the gate on Venus to Mercury, and that's how you get to the Burning Forge, is because they basically use the Vex gate on Venus to escape to the Forge. Sorry, I had a momentary blank there.
Which gives a interesting thought process that we suspected that Osiris was using. I mean, we kind of knew already that Osiris was using the Vex gates to travel from place to place, but now we know that the Sunbreakers did too.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that could be because of Osiris. Osiris could have shown them. And so, like, yes, it does sound like Osiris did something, but we don't know. You don't know if it was malicious or if it was just oops, like, so it could have been like, we should have known he was going to screw up, or something like that. Or he could have been, we should have known not to trust him. We don't know what that sentence ends. They are being
just another crazy warlock.
So
Osiris needed a dog. Oh, Scrappy.
But real quick, let me see what else we got. So that was one of the theories from chat. I think the other big thing that we discussed in chat was actually about the Iron Lords.
Whether or not the axe is a manifestation of the Sunbreaker.
Yeah, I still hold that it's not.
Yeah, no.
I mean, the reason why is because it's specifically called an artifact, and it's got its own Grimoire card as an artifact. The only problem is that in the intro cutscene, Saladin does actually kind of draw it out of nothing.
The other thing I would argue in favor, it may not necessarily be a Sunbreaker, because that is definitely the iconic hammer. It could be another type of manifestation of the light. Remember, the Iron Lords didn't necessarily have anybody to teach them how to manifest the light originally. They came up with their own ways of doing it. This may be that version of it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So, I mean, and right, and that's... But see, then the question that I have there, and this is where I get hung up on it, is then how are we given axes? Because when we get the axe, they are actually dropped. Like the game mechanics is we actually get granted physical items.
Right. Right.
And that's my only snag in that entire theory. And because, like, other than that, I would completely be on board with it. But then, how do
You
you
don't have to be a solar class to actually wield it. You can be any class and wield one of the axes.
Right. I mean, and that ultimately is my understanding that it is an artifact. It's like the Aegis. Like, it is something that is outside of us that has been imbued because in the Iron Tomb you have to recharge it using the urns.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you can imbue it with
gift.
Well, I mean, it's for our guardians. It's a gift. I mean, in the Iron Tomb, again, you walk up and you actually grab it,
right?
Because it's just sitting there.
For them originally, I mean, it is every time we get the axe, it is granted to us. It's not something that we can pull out as a weapon. It's not something we can carry. Somebody has to drop it off or has to manifest it somehow. Whether it's manifesting on top of a giant box, a freighter box, or within the Archon's Forge, it's not something that we have. It's something that is given to us.
Right. And like Skydragon in chat is pointing this out too. The easiest, the Occam's razor here is that his ghost transmat it in the video for Saladin. Like, and I guess, like, I would suggest it. I would agree with that. Like, I think that is. I hate you so much.
That would be hilarious, especially if it was a tiny fainting one.
So, okay, for the podcast, Skydragon had a typo, and he said his goat transmatted. And then he corrected himself and said ghost. Justin just responded with, "I prefer the goat." So. I
thought about it.
Thank you.
The
now
goat seems to be the goat seems to be far more efficient.
Now, okay. So this ties back into a game stream with Kung Fu Frogs, where he was playing Diablo 3, and he got the mini goat follower. He was like going on for like an hour about how the little thing was chasing him around. So now, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have that in my head whenever you talk about Saladin's ghost.
Sounds like Ben's fault.
Yeah, I blame both of you. Real quick, the only other thing I had that I was going to kind of talk about other than that was I did want to mention the ratio of armor to fabric on Titans. We've mentioned this with the Hunters and the Warlocks. So Hunters, remember, are 50-50, kind of because they scavenge and they're kind of equally. Warlocks are more 20-80. They have 20 armor to 80 fabric. Titans are 80-20. So they are mostly they're tanks. Like, that's kind of,
and they're 80% plasteel. That's pretty much what they are.
They are 80% plasteel. So do they still have plasteel? Is that still an item? Didn't they do away with it?
Well, I mean, you could still have it in your inventory, but it's not something you use.
That's what. No. But let's be clear. They unified armor materials.
Right. Okay. So
that doesn't mean that a Titan is any less made of plasteel.
Right. But I mean, for anyone who jumped into the game, with the Taken King, they would have no idea what that kind of.
Okay, so back in vanilla, you had three separate armor materials for three separate classes of character. The Titans had plasteel plating.
Yep.
The it's really bad
Warlocks had Hadrianic Essence, I think.
No, that's Warlocks had Hadrianic Essence,
right? And then the Hunters had Sapphire.
Hunters had Sapphire Wire,
which was amazing.
If you had three characters and you ran one of each, you were screwed.
Oh my god!
Because you had to earn
annoying.
each one, and they weren't unified. So that was a quality of life. That was a quality of life change they made around Taken King, and they just unified them all. They unified them all into one. which was just an armor material. You have, and they unified them all to armor material and weapon parts. So you had one generic armor material that would work across all your characters. But that does not make that does not make a Titan any less made of plasteel plating than he was in vanilla. It's just the economy changed. It's not that his makeup changed.
Plasteel in and of itself is an interesting concept.
So you're saying that the pig still has makeup on?
Yeah, I mean, we put as much lipstick on this pig as we can possibly. Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't. Yeah,
I'm gonna get so much hate for that. Worth it.
Yeah. Someone said in a raid I was putting a mark on a Titan's like polishing a turd. I don't know.
I don't know. Some of those marks are kind of cool looking.
They're mud flaps, but we're good.
Yeah, we're just Anyways, really quick, before we go down that particular rabbit hole, real quick, the supers green. Did you want to mention those? I know you.
Yeah, I pulled up the different nodes for the subclass and just kind of going through them. The super ability modifiers was Forge Master, Sun Charge, and Scorched Earth. Kind of everything's along the theme of fire and like the Burning Forge and everything. Melee abilities, Melting Point, Thermal Vent, Stoke the Forge. And we have Flame Seeker, Explosive Pyre, and Fleet Fire as the ability modifier. And another ability modifier, Train of Thought, is Simmering Flames, Cauterize, and Firekeeper. So, Blue, I almost said that. I caught myself before I did. Because having me say it is way different than Mr. Fruit saying it. I almost said, for those in podcast, I almost said stroke that forge, which is a quote from Mr. Fruit. I did not. I said stoke.
That was the best part of the reveal. Was it?
It was
stroke
good.
The forge.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, all those different terms have references to actually kind of a blacksmithing, making that metal pliable yet strong.
Oh man, that is true. That is true. And I mean, again, this goes back to connection with the forge, the crucible, all these kind of things that you see. I just think that's a really cool, like little thread that they've woven with this particular subclass. Real quick, we got a couple dispatches. Do you guys want to jump into those?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Yeah, let's do it.
Dispatches from the wilds.
All right. So we got another. I don't even know what
type?
It's not even a summary. It's another one of these ones that I'm gonna have to make into a wallpaper because it's really good.
Can I read this one?
Yeah, go for it. This is from Infested Potato.
The Infested Potato. Sorry, that's a really good name. So, yeah. Also in chat, Scrappy, why are you eating hunters? Let me see. Infested Potato writes, "Quiet, children, and let me tell you of the ones that used to be just legend. I'll tell you of the Sunbreakers. Titans are the walls, the bulwarks of the city. Defenders and strikers have long stood watch, looking out into the long night, holding the line, holding back the relentless scavengers and the minions of the darkness. But there are others, ones who do not crash down in thunderous waves of arc energy or shield us in brilliant orbs of glowing void light. Ones who do not stand watch on the walls. Titans who wield the relentless fury of a firestorm, Hammers of forged steel, ornate with solar fire like the corona of a star. Their deeds are endless and mysterious, and others question why they didn't stand with their brothers and sisters. Some say they were standing vigil in the vexed spires of Mercury all this time, still looking after us from so far. And now, children, the Sunbreakers have returned to the city. Their hammers burn hot, and they strike against our enemies with unmatched fury. Look up to the walls some nights. You may see them, brilliant and burning, defending the city once again. Ting, 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 ting.
I like it. I like it. We're gonna have to put that on a wallpaper. We'll get that. We'll get that in the Discord chat here shortly. And
could we get that on a? Could we get that on a cozy, so I can put it on my table?
I think that's going to be a
really
really big drink that you're going to be needing.
Does anyone in chat knit?
Oh God,
Zavala is not listening to us. Okay,
it'd be difficult.
Okay, let's just play dodgeball.
Yeah.
The next one is from CM, and first off, I might have exposed someone to the Dark Tower. I'm not really sorry about it, but if you haven't seen it, you should totally check out the Dark Tower trailer. It's amazing. But he says the reason why I said that is because he actually included the trailer in the email and was like, thanks to you, I'm watching this now. And it was like, you're welcome. You're welcome. But then he goes on, he says, the Sunbreakers left from Mercury. Was it because they wanted to be closer to the sun, i.e. the source of their power? Or does the Titan Order have some fealty towards Osiris? Maybe both. Is there any hint of the Titans in the lighthouse?
Okay, 3 separate questions, 3 very different answers.
Yes.
So if you've watched me stream Destiny, you know that I have not been to the lighthouse.
I haven't either, but I have scoured pictures and I've watched plenty of people go there. And I don't think there's evidence of the Sunbreakers per se.
No.
There's just evidence of Osiris there.
And I mean, we also combed the lighthouse for evidence of the trinary star. And,
You mean the binary star?
Stuff.
Oh, wait.
No.
The star cult that can't make up its mind.
We added another star, Blue. Get with it. Did you not see my memo that I sent to you in the form of a stick wicket?
Yeah, I forgot about that one. I didn't realize that we were adding a star to the system.
I send all of my memos via stick wicket. You should really get on that app. Stick wicket. Get it trending.
Oh, wicket. Man. So,
wiki stick it.
So, wow. Left for Mercury. Was it because they wanted to be closer to the sun? I mean, that's possible. I think it was because they wanted to be closer to the Forge.
I think they just couldn't stand Zavala.
That might be too.
I think it's partially, I mean, it could also be because they wanted to be closer to Osiris if Osiris was based there.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I mean, yeah.
You had on one hand, you had Zavala was laying down curfews and saying, if you're going to be in my house, you're going to use a coaster and you're going to do all this other stuff. And then Osiris was just like, chill. He was like, I don't care, bro. Just come whenever you want. I don't care. I'm not even in this timeline.
I'm not even in this timeline.
Yep, exactly.
It's chill.
As far as the part of that question that makes me actually raise my eyebrow a little bit is the sun, the source of their power. That's been a pretty recent debate in chat, whether or not we actually get our power from the traveler or within ourselves, or are we getting power directly from nature via Dragon Ball Z, pull it from the sun's tile. I don't.
How far down that rabbit hole do we want to go?
We got some time to kill.
I don't think we pull anything from the sun.
No, that's not true. Icarus.
Icarus does it.
No. The language
Icarus.
C. Okay. Hang on. Icarus, the Grimoire card. Icarus, language C, Mercury. Area designation is Icarus. Location is Caloris Basin, Mercury. Says this facility on Mercury has remained untouched by the Vex for reasons unknown. The Golden Age technology at this location remains intact, harnessing energy from the sun and converting it to solar light. The Vanguard has denied petitions from the various weapon foundries of the city to research the solar farm and the resources it continues to collect until the Warlock orders have finished their surveys. An exemption has been granted to Lorshax and his Crucible. The Guardians are free to use Icarus as a live fire training zone.
But
Yeah.
we use an actual machine or Golden Age machine to harvest the solar light. We don't of ourselves.
Right. But what I'm saying is you can convert energy from the sun to solar light.
I don't think you're really converting it from natural solar light to.
You might be
solar.
purifying it.
I don't think you. I think it's more of a. It's more of like a separately excited field in this case. So I don't know. I don't want to get into it. It's way too deep. And I'm not perfectly prepared for it. But yeah, like I don't know if you can synthesize light from, let's just
I mean, our body automatically.
Well, no.
Let's anyway. If you want to talk about
quantify all natural phenomena into two separate groups, okay? There's paracausal groups that are linked to the traveler, and there are natural groups. I don't know that you can synthesize paracausal light from natural sources. Otherwise, what would be the point of the traveler?
Well, what is the point of the traveler? Because the Hive don't have a connection to the traveler, and they have paracausal capabilities.
Yeah, because they ripped them from the fabric of reality because they're pushy.
But my point is that their paracausal capabilities point to the fact that the traveler isn't a necessary component.
The traveler is definitely not the end all be all onto-former magic generator for the universe. But in our case, I think it is the one-stop shop for everything that is not a natural force in our world.
See, and I hesitate to agree because the new subclasses, like the old subclass, no, actually, so the subclasses themselves actually point to a fact that we are channeling almost a natural energy. Scrappy's pointing this out in the chat right now. The storm callers, they pull energy straight from storms. When you're a night stalker, to get the solar shot or
void.
You punch a hole in reality and pull a handful of the void back. Solar, the Titans, they are pulling a hammer from a pocket of solar energy, and you're manifesting this from the natural environment, which is also, you see that a lot in the presentation when they were presenting these new subclasses, especially with the Stormcallers, with the tribal armor design. It was much more elemental. It was much more primal.
Okay, but here's my question: do you believe a non-guardian could have done that?
I think it has to be unlocked. Think about some of the old kung fu movies where somebody has to have their key unlocked,
like unlocking chakras or like aligning yourself with the.
I think with the ghost and everything, they unlock our ability to actually use it. Yeah, Blue's typing in chat that light is anima or chi or ki or however you want to pronounce it,
or chakra, or
if you also think about all the different quests that we're doing, we're literally in the zones, just like Scrappy said about pulling the
arc
electric arc. Thank you, the arc power from the storm. Maybe that is the initial conduit that creates the pathways within our brain or within our body in and of itself to be able to channel it more readily, where it's easier for us to do it the second time. Maybe the first time we have to be in a very specific place or zone or have it handed to us the first time, like we do with Night Stalker, where we create those neural pathways that we're able to actually recreate it later using a spark of our own light instead of pulling from the natural light.
Okay, so I'm not disagreeing. All I'm saying is I kind of have this vision in my head that the light and the traveler is a paracausal force in a causal world. So basically what you're doing is you're channeling a paracausal force within a causal substrate, and outside influences can influence your manifestation of that force. So if you go to Mercury and you do that Sunbreakers subclass quest and you stroke the forge, you are then influencing only your manifestation of that paracausal force. You are in no way influencing the base or the root of that power. It comes in a steady stream from the traveler, but the external kind of stimuli that you bring in from your experience are what actually influence the manifestation of that power. I don't know. I could be wrong.
No,
I mean, there's
no. You're on to something. I would disagree with one fine point there. So I agree with all that. Actually, I do agree with all that. I would just qualify light is not paracausal. Light belongs to
capital.
Everything. Yes, capital light
Okay.
is not paracausal. How we manifest light is paracausal.
Okay. So would you say light is an underlying force that has been in our solar system from word go?
As in,
Yes.
okay, which
As
one
in
are you talking about?
Pre-traveler.
Light.
Capital L light.
In my opinion, I think that all the Traveler did was awaken us to the presence of something that was already there. The Traveler opened our eyes to something.
It's
I'm
a
with
story of
that.
an enlightenment.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
I like what you did
I'm with
that too. But
Yeah, definitely. I think that we have to be shown or kind of pushed in a certain direction based off of what kind of natural environment we are in for the first time when we learn it. But after that, I think it's easier to manifest using just the memory of what we were doing beforehand.
So, yeah, my whole point with the whole thing wasn't that I had a big problem with the fact that they had some sort of a solar light generator or whatever. It was the fact that energy is never created or destroyed.
right.
And I think that's a constant, even in this.
No. I agree.
kind of
I agree. 100%.
paradigm.
Right.
So, even today, even if you go today and you go to the equipment rental place and you get a generator, it's a misnomer that it's a generator. It's actually not a generator.
It's converter.
It can literally generate nothing. All it can do is convert energy from one form to another, and hopefully the form it converts it to is a usable form for you. And I think that's the case very much with subclasses in general and the Traveler, and also the Sunbreakers. And it's a very, very interesting one, because we actually have, applications in real life where we utilize solar energy and we convert it to other forms,
Right.
We
go ahead, Green.
We literally take solar energy and convert it into vitamin D within our own skin. I mean, we do that already. We can convert solar energy into things. Plants do convert solar energy into things. I mean, that is a very natural phenomenon already within our own reality.
Yeah. And also I gave the LED example a while ago. There's the exact inverse of an LED. So an LED you pass current through it and it will emit photons. There's an inverse of that. There's an exact inverse proponent of that, in that there is such a thing as a photovoltaic cell, in which if you take in photons, you will actually pass a current. And we use that for a lot of things. I mean, if you ever have a photocell turn on lights, when it gets dark, the lights come on. It's the exact same thing. So it's not that foreign a concept to harness the energy of the sun to do different things. We use it to store energy in everyday life. Wow, that was an accident. And I think that's a lot of what the Forge is about. Like, I think the Forge is very much not unlike a big solar cell. It's stored energy that you can then utilize later, but it's just not the conventional type of energy we're used to utilizing.
I'm trying to think. I think that's everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to roll to shout outs?
Yes.
Do it.
Green, you're up first.
Yeah. Okay. So shout out is to actually Blue and anybody else who's actually read the Dark Tower series. I think it Pins who had read it too.
It's amazing.
Oh my god. Okay. So
I guess I'll have to read it so I can get a shout out.
we're doing it in book club this month, or book chat this month. So if you want to jump in and just kind of get cliff notes before you get started.
How deep are you?
We're in chapter 1, which is
Okay.
really long.
Okay, now's the time.
It's about 70 pages.
Yeah. It is quite long, and the audiobook is actually broken up into smaller chapters, which was really confusing to me.
Oh,
at
is
first.
it?
But
Oh, that is
it
confusing.
really is. But I've tried to read the Dark Tower multiple times because I've had somebody in my life since I was 18 telling me I should read this book. And I've pushed back against it because it's Stephen King, and I am a big baby when it comes to scary stuff.
I was about to say, there's a couple things that you can say that will make me just leave.
We all float down here.
But that being said, and I'm just going to go past that. I'm not going to just happy thoughts. Watching the trailer, Blue made a shout out to this at the beginning. Watching the trailer for the Dark Tower actually makes me want to read it because it's like it. Yeah, I know
because it had Matthew McConaughey, right?
Oh my god!
No, well, that part is kind of cool because his voice is actually.
Yeah.
I normally can't stand his voice because he's got that draw, and he just sounds like a complete and utter idiot half the time because he plays an idiot half the time.
I kind of feel like you just described me.
Nope, not going there. Not going there. But Matthew McConaughey actually seems like he's a well-developed character in this compared to some of the other types of characters he's played.
Yeah, okay. Real quick. The figure that Matthew McConaughey plays in Dark Tower, that figure flag is actually, if not one of the most important figure in pretty much all of King's works.
Is it Roland?
No. The Man in Black. The Man in Black is like
Johnny Cash?
No. You need to read the book. Just messing with you. Flag is a figure that is in a significant amount of books, and actually, if he's not in the books, there's actually most of the mentions outside of the Dark Tower series are actually to him. So he is. I mean, Flag is in. I'm just generalizing, but I would say he's in like 75 to 80% of his books. Mentions of him are like there is significant significant importance on that character, which is why a lot of people were really nervous when they kind of were like, yeah, Matthew McConaughey is going to do it. Everyone's like, okay.
Dude, right,
and then
anyone
they saw.
No.
Scary.
Anyone who would have a problem with that didn't see him in season 1 of True Detective.
You're right. I haven't seen him in True Detective.
That was
seen him
so
in a
good.
lot of really stupid chick flicks.
No, you should watch season 1 of True Detective. If you want to see Matthew McConaughey where he should be.
But that's why a lot of people were nervous about the trailer, was because that character is extremely important in the whole story. Like not just the Dark Tower story, but like all of King's universe. Yeah, Pins. The Stand and Eyes of the Dragon. There's mentions of him in It. There's like, if there's any mention of the Dark Tower, is a very high chance that the Regulators was another one. There's a very high chance that he is the mention. So, but yes, continue.
No worries. I just want to thank you and Pens for finally getting enough people to vote for it, because now I have to read it, and then showing me the trailer, because now I actually want to read it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited for that.
I just want to.
Huh?
No, I was gonna say you guys should pick a Heinlein book.
It's on there.
We've been trying. It's on the list. You should run a campaign to actually vote for it. Like
I will
vote for it.
I will.
Okay, I will let you know when that's
Challenge accepted.
Okay.
Do I get to pick the book? Do I get to pick the book that's on the list?
I'll let you pick it.
Okay, good. Done.
All right. Yeah. But as far as other shout outs, I want to shout out to my wife, even though she's not listening and she won't listen to this later on, but I'm still going to do it anyway. She's been helping me with a project that I've been working on, and she watched the very first episode of it tonight, and she says it's pretty good.
Yay!
And if it's good for her, it means it's good for
Yay!
So I'm excited for it.
Good. That's a good. When is Green going to put the Silmarillion on the reading list?
Oh God!
Never.
No.
Holy crap! Don't do that.
No.
Never.
No. Okay. Scrappy, I've read it. I've read it twice, and I don't want to put anybody through that. Once was because I was a glutton for punishment. The other time I was forced to in college.
When you have at least 20 plus characters' names that equal
the same
20 syllables per character name.
Oh God.
It's like, wait, no, that's no. And most of them sound like prescription drugs. Like, I'm like, who's sildenafil? And I'm done.
If we do Silmarillion, I am putting Josh in charge of running that month.
You mean that year?
Yeah.
He's a little snippy.
All right, Justin, shout outs, go.
Okay. Again, if you didn't hear the Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms podcast, I just wanted to state it again. Big shout out to Blue and Green for letting me go to California to I don't know, hobnob with all the really influential folks and watch the Destiny 2 premiere. So thank you, Blue. It was about to get real, so I stopped it.
Stopped it.
Yeah. No, just thanks, Blue. Thanks, Blue and Green, because, you guys do an amazing amount of work. Just y'all do an awesome job. And I'm getting to go to LA and I feel a little bit guilty about that, but not enough to not go. So,
every time he plays that audio clip, I imagine him just like trying to dance in his chair without getting too far away from his mic.
You don't have to imagine.
What I did,
ask him to turn on the webcam.
Yeah, Green. So basically what happened is when Blue told me I was going, I went to the bank and I got $100 in ones. And every time I play that song, I literally just throw them up into the air, just one at a time. Also, big shout out to my clan, DoD Shadow White crew. being the most supportive crew I've ever had and the only crew I've ever had. But and also, guys, definitely check out a Destiny streamer tomorrow, Saturday. I don't know what time he's streaming, but just check him out. Redneck Ma. He is, Ma. He's having his first baby soon, and they just found out the sex, and he will be revealing it. Revealing it. He will not relieving it. He'll be revealing it on tomorrow night's Destiny stream. So you guys should definitely check that out. I think it's twitch.tv/redneckma, and I think the E in redneck is a 3 because he's difficult. And also he was very generous in letting DoD Shadow White Crew name his baby, which I thought was a step too far, but his wife was like, it's cool. And so like his baby will be named Wee Baby Seamus.
Oh, God. I bet that wife regretted that.
Great shout out to Wee Baby Seamus, Redneck Ma, Ryan on the Ma. He has that podcast if you've listened to that one. Wee Baby Seamus. Welcome to the world.
Oh, my. Evil people.
Wee
Oh,
Baby
God.
Seamus.
Oh my God. Oh,
yeah,
man.
no. We hope Pins. We hope it's a boy.
So I have 2 shout outs as well. Email topic for next week is we don't have an email topic for next week because I'm actually taking the week off. So have fun.
So wait,
I mean,
I don't have a show next week.
You don't have a show next week. I'll make sure that the text bot does not message you next week.
I will, though. And then I'm just going to disappear.
We should just stream together. Green.
We should totally stream together.
Yeah, we should make it happen.
We should talk about that in after show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then my second shout out is actually to Redneck Mob. Again, he is a patron over on Podbean. So we really appreciate that. And if you guys are interested in that, we have all that information over on our Podbean site, or just our regular site. If you just go to the website I'll list it here in a second. It will take you to the Podbean site, and you can find all that information. If you're at all interested in that, it's not required, obviously, but we really do appreciate it if you do. And then also a big shout out to all of the people who have been cheering with the bits. Now that we are affiliated,
the bits.
Justin is very excited. I think he's started to understand what bits are.
And the chits.
Never mind. He still doesn't understand what bits are. But we really appreciate it. You will notice a change in the release of the podcast. The audio file, I have to wait because of the agreement that we made with Twitch to become affiliated. We have to wait 24 hours before we make that available on other sites. So instead of being uploaded immediately after the live stream, it will be uploaded the next night. So normally it's uploaded early Saturday morning. Now it's going to be uploaded early Sunday morning. And that's really the only change that you guys should notice, other than being able to jump in and put bounties on Fraggle's head when we're streaming. We really appreciate those.
Oh, speaking of that, can I say something?
Yeah, go for it.
Big shout out to Bo.
Oh yeah, Bo.
Oh yeah.
Good job.
Bungie bounty. Bo 5 Amos. I don't know how to say his name because it's letters
Bo
and
Amos.
numbers, but Bo Amos. Blue, please link his Twitch channel for me.
Oh yeah, definitely. I will put that in the show notes.
But basically, longtime fan of the show, great friend of mine and Blues and everybody's. Bo is actually the Bungie bounty for this week. So everyone try to queue in with him on Destiny and beat him to get the special emblem.
Yeah.
Awesome person.
All right, let's run through the outro and then we'll stick around for a short after show. With that, we'll begin to wrap the chat up. Thank you again to those over on Twitch for coming to spend your evening with us. If you'd like to join us for the live streaming of the episodes each week, please be sure to give us a follow over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. Links to all our other sites can also be found with our episode archives over on www.focusfirechat.com. Please be sure to email us at focusfirechat@gmail.com with any feedback or questions for our team concerning the podcast, and let us know how we're doing by giving us some feedback on iTunes or through email as well. Be sure to check out our partner podcast within the Guardian Radio Network over on the guardiansofdestiny.com. So, until next time, focus your fire and may your light shine bright. Remote Vanguard database text-only search initialized. Welcome user Ace of Hearts. Please enter search query.
News about Cade.
There are 4 new articles since your last search 26 hours 33 minutes ago.
That's way too low.
Sorry, I didn't understand. That's way too low.
Who's more popular than Cade?
Sorry, I didn't.
Who's more popular than Cade? First article about Cade.
The first City News article about Cade was 126 years, 11 months.
126 years? I'm way older than that.
Major events of 126 years ago. Significant progress made in faction accords. Related. Brask. A. Traveler. True origins and minor events of 126 years ago. First 25-match Crucible winning streak recorded. Related. Ray. I. Centaur Planetoid 7066 Nessus re-enters system after unexpected delay.
Did we get invaded by horse people?
Sorry,
Did horse people ever exist?
There are no known encounters with quadruped lifeforms capable of spaceflight. Some early sightings of fallen raiding parties mistakenly identified their methods of rapid locomotion as equine.
Did Fallen ever ride horses?
No.
What are we talking about?
Last 50 searches across all devices chronological. Banshee real name. Banshee 44 real name. Scout Rifle Locker default password. Traveler Giant Eyeball. Giant Eyeball Planet. Giant Eyeball Aliens. Giant Alien Eyeballs. Delete image history. How do I delete images? Accidentally set Giant Alien Eyeball as terminal background. How much do new terminals cost? Vanguard discount for new
Traveler.
Over 50 million results found. Please narrow search criteria.
Traveler Eyeball.
Over 70 million results found. Please.
Where did the Traveler come from?
Over 10 million results.
Traveler Googly Eyes terminal background.
Please connect to a device with an image display to view these results.
Traveler Road Trip Snacks.
Since the Traveler's final exodus from Io prior to the collapse, Echo Mesa has been a popular pilgrimage destination for Guardians. As the Traveler's transformation of the Jovian moon was incomplete, Io's climate and geography do not support agriculture in the conventional sense. Vanguard Commander Zavala therefore recommends
Zavala Snacks?
all results tagged with the following related search queries require 2/3 Vanguard authorization for disclosure. Zavala Snacks, Zavala Action Snacks, Titan Vitamins, Edible Zavala, Zavala Action Vitamins, Vanguard Vitamins.
What?
All results tagged
Ikora current location.
Warlock Vanguard Ikora Ray is currently in the Underwatch. Would you
Log out.
Thank you for using the Vanguard text-only database. User Ace of Hearts. Be brave.